I'm nearby because maybe some question. I will need your help. Donc, je disais, Olivier, Fabien, c'est cool si vous êtes à côté parce qu'il y a peut-être des questions que j'aurais besoin de vous poser. On n'est pas loin, quoi. Mais non, mais mettez-vous ici devant ou je sais pas. Ok. So
So I think questions are still being typed.
so you can type your question here on the pad,
Okay.
and otherwise you can also come to the stage if you want to ask a question.
So we already
Alors,
have a few
what
questions.
OS and laptop model do you currently use? I don't know. My mouse doesn't work anymore. Attends, wait. Voilà. Voilà. No, it's not. It's not Debian. I think it's Ubuntu something. It's Ubuntu 22 something. Wait. And I will kill all meta city. Oh, and I think I have a problem. No. Okay. I need to restart. Ah merde. Ok. Oui, parce que. Non.
Shall I go on to the next question?
Yes,
Okay.
because I have problem with my laptop.
So
Wait. Okay.
The next question is, why does Odoo still use outdated Python packages? Security-wise, this isn't great.
No, we use update. That's not true. Restore. Up. Voilà. Okay. So we don't use outdated Python package. Because what we do, we try to rely only on Python library that are packaged in Debian or Ubuntu. So we know that Ubuntu and Debian, they take care of their security updates. So we only depend on that. Sometimes we depend on something that is not packaged on Debian, but then it's optional. The Odoo will start even if we don't have access to the library. And for those library, yes, you have to ensure that they are up to date. And about JavaScript code, because we get this message a lot. We have a lot of security researchers that tell us, oh, I found a big security issue in Odoo, because they think that in the JavaScript library that we package, because we vendor them, we put them in our repository, there is a security issue. But what we do, we sometimes use old version, but we patch for the security issue. So if you look at the lines of code, you will see that we apply the security patch that are needed. But people report this all the time. Yeah, the question.
So, yeah, next question. What are the future plans for the chatter? Example, filter, hiding information based on origin, etc. Discuss and notification features.
Full text search, yeah. So what you can do is also you can look at all the questions and you can select also what you think are the more interesting one. So we discuss. I think the plan for discuss is first to use it ourselves, because we are still using Discord internally at Odoo, and the goal is that we switch to our own tool to replace Discord. And to do that, I don't know, maybe there are some missing features, but probably it's a lot of polish that we would need. And the plan that we have is that the Discuss team itself will have to use only, we will ban them from Discord so that they have to use their own tool, but they agree with that. And by using it themselves for, let's say 1 month, they will, fix probably all the polishing. They will polish the app so that after we can switch to it. But I don't think we want to add extra features. We just want to use it. But there is a slight problem with that. It's when you are on Discord on a private message between two employees and you say Antony is a dick, it's okay because it's on the Discord server. If you use discuss internally and you say that I could go to the database, I will not do it, but there is people might be reluctant to switch because they have the freedom to talk when they are in private message. So, but it's not a technical issue then.
Next
Yeah?
question. What is the relationship that you have with the general Python community? Do you expect or push some of the evolution on the language itself?
Okay, no, I have no involvement in Python at all. I just follow the, when they do the release notes, and I don't agree with most of the, no, with a few of the stuff they do because I think they make the language a bit more complex. And I liked Python when it was very simple. For example, they introduced the colon equal operator. How is it called? Walrus operator. I understand it can be practical if you do a while or something like that, but yeah, it goes further away from the very simple Python that I know. So, but it's because I'm just a old stupid guy,
What is the size of the instance that you used yesterday during the keynote talk where you were showing the
so the instance, it's an instance that if you go on Odoo SH, you can order it. It's 256 workers. But actually, we have more CPU than workers because we run also PostgreSQL on the side. So the number of CPU was 320, I think, or 60, 360 CPU. And it's an AMD something, but I don't know exactly the model. It's an AMD CPU. And I think it has 1 terabyte of RAM or 1.2 terabyte, 1.3 terabyte, and that's pretty much, and yeah, probably 1 terabyte of hardware. And this instance was on Google Cloud because we use both OVH and Google Cloud, but the one I showed you yesterday was on Google Cloud actually.
Next question: can multiple locations be installed on the same database, or what is your recommended approach for this?
What do you mean by location?
Yeah, maybe the person who has the question can clarify.
Well, multiple location.
Yeah.
If we are talking about accounting location, we of course imagine that you have a subsidiary everywhere in the world, and you have a company in Mexico, a company in US, a company in Italy. That's what we do at Odoo. We install the localization. Except Italy, there is something missing. She was complaining yesterday. Yeah, the manager of the Italian branch, she was complaining that there is something missing to invoice, I don't know, public entities. Are you aware of it? Because she told me that she told you, but it was not going forward or something. Well, I told her, come to see me today and we will check that. So if it's about, I don't know if he precised the question or not.
Okay. In brackets, Spain, Chile.
Ah, well, yes. Of course, you can put multiple localization.
Okay. How does Odoo plan to improve its mobile app capabilities and offer a better user experience?
Yeah, I think the strategy would be to do the same as discussed, to force our employee to use Odoo on their mobile phone, because it's true when we arrive at the office, we mostly have our laptop and we use Odoo through our laptop most of the day. And when, for example, during the Odoo experience, we were using it on the mobile phone a lot, and we see usability issue, like on the event app, we were grouping attendee by type, and it was not very practical. So then we see, we realized the shortcomings, and I think we should maybe do a mobile day where everybody work on this mobile all the day, and then if people are forced to use the mobile application, they will fix the issue. Yeah. I would have to say that the mobile application is already much better than last year, I think. But yeah, there are still some shortcomings. In PWA, what do you mean? Ah, yeah. Yeah, because we have an app on the Android and Apple App Store, and but you can use Odoo as a PWA, so you don't need to install it. And actually, uh, the app on iOS is a bit outdated, but we keep it because we don't have the right to publish a new one. So we advise people to use the PWA, but for example, for the barcode scanner, the demo Fabien showed you yesterday, then you need the Android app because to connect with the Bluetooth application. So we will keep it anyway.
I see that there are a few questions about AI in Odoo.
Yeah.
So in particular, there's one which
Alors.
asks, will Odoo invest in open source LLMs?
No, probably we will leverage open source LLM if
And it
we
says
need to.
and or develop multi-LLM applications on Odoo Enterprise Editions.
So at the moment we use AI for scanning bills. That's a very simple use case. We use AI also if you want to generate content on the website builder or in the editor of Odoo. You can use, and it's actually a link to ChatGPT. So we pay OpenAI for the LLMs. We are thinking of using it maybe to do lead nurturing. So we have an application called marketing automation, and maybe we were thinking about using AI to do that. And so we will use, if we have a use case that is practical, of course we would use AI, and it's very easy to integrate it. At the moment we use OpenAI. Maybe one day we will say, okay, we will switch to an open source models and we will run it on our server. But we didn't decide yet. But probably we'll not create our own model. What we would use would be a model that is like open source or cheap, and then we will provide a big context. Because now models you can have, I don't know, like 120K of context. So with the context, I think we can do something already very useful instead of training a full model ourselves. And also, for example, we could, people say, oh, you could use AI to manage help desk. And it's true, but it raises some issue, because when you train a model with the answer of your past customer, it's private information from them. So there is some kind of risk if you train a model with the data of your customer. So it looks easy, but I think you have to be careful to what you do.
The web tour recorder is a wonderful tool, but it seems that it doesn't support front end. Is it in the roadmap?
What does it mean by the one to export a module?
The web tour recorder.
Ah, okay, to create tours. Yeah.
I think we just had a demo about this one.
Okay.
In this room.
Yeah, because we record the RPC probably, and but no, I don't know. Actually, I never used it myself, so I don't know. I don't want to.
Maybe you can reach out to the person.
Jerry n'est pas là. Si, Jerry, you know something about the tour recorder? Bien. Attends, vas-y.
Yeah, but there's not much to say. There is no plan yet to make it work on the website, but we could do it.
But how does it work?
It just record a nice selector.
Okay, when you click on somewhere, it checks.
It generates a nice selector.
Okay.
It could be done.
Right.
It's just more like a UI question, how to provide the feature.
And my question to you is, do you use it yourself when you do a tour, or do you do it manually?
It's still very new, so I think we'll see when we use it.
Okay. Okay, other question?
How do you look for good developers?
Okay. So the way we recruit at Odoo, we don't discriminate about anything. We don't even look at the CV first. We ask people to do a small programming test, just to filter out people who don't know to program at all. So it's like a very simple online exercise. And then after we do an interview, and then by what we do with the candidate, it's we program together. We take some exercise and we solve it together. And by, checking how somebody solve a problem, we can a bit analyze if we think this person is good. And I think it's much more reliable than credential. Some people, they have very good credential, but when you sit with them and you work an actual problem, then you realize they are not good. And some people, they have no credential at all, but when we sit with those people and you solve a problem together, you can see that they have good logic. And so that's the way we do recruitment. And
next question about Odoo SH.
Yeah.
How does Odoo SH allocate an instance for each account, and do you use Docker or
Alors,
some other containers?
We don't use Docker, but we use containers. So containers like Dockers or systemd, etc., they use namespace and C groups. So we use that, but we do it ourselves. So we implemented our own small Docker specialized for Odoo. And on you can get a dedicated server where you are alone on your server, but most of the people use shared servers, so we shared resources among multiple customers. The number vary, but maybe 300 customers per server, a bit less. Okay.
Still on Odoo SH, any plans to support subversions on Odoo SH, like running 17.4, for example?
SaaS version, way. No, we prefer to stick to the major version, and we advise people. Of course, you can check out the branch of 17 dot something, but we advise you, if you do custom development, to start from a whole number branch, so one that will be supported 3 years. Because those SaaS version, as soon as we migrated people away from this version, we stopped supporting it.
Are there horizontal scalability plans? Because Odoo SH scales vertically. Horizontal scalability.
So what you mean by that? Having multiple servers?
It doesn't say here in the question.
Probably. Yes, of course, it already works. We use it on odoo.com. Because odoo.com was made before Odoo SH, So we already had this distributed, setup, and we still use it. And on odoo.com, we distributed the server, the Odoo server. I think we have, how many front-end servers do we have? Quoi? 15. So we have 15 servers, and the database is one huge server, and we will test this year to distribute it. The way we will proceed is, first we will enable synchronous replication, because of course the database is already replicated, but for high availability issues. So we don't want to lose, if a server goes down, we want to be able to switch to another one. But we will, it's not synchronous at the moment, so we will enable synchronous, wait a little, and see if there is no problem. And once it's done, we will try to direct read-only queries to this one. Probably we will do that next month or very soon. The reason we waited so long to try it is because we were running Ubuntu 22.04, and with the replication, we sometimes had issue. The whole file of Postgres was corrupted. But we use PostgreSQL and we use ZFS. And so we don't know exactly what was the issue, because instead of solving it, we just upgraded to the latest version of Ubuntu, and the problem doesn't seem to appear anymore. So that's why we waited so long to do the. But it's very interesting to do, and at the same time, we don't really need it, because the PostgreSQL server we have is enough. But we just plan for the future, when the company will be 2 times bigger. Then we prefer to be prepared in advance.
There are also a few questions on reports.
Yeah.
So what is the state of WK HTML to PDF?
Yeah.
Will this be replaced,
So
and when will it be?
It's still a mess. So we made some little patch to WK HTML to PDF. We still use it. We are trying to do something else on the side, to do our own PDF renderer, but it's a huge project, so I don't know if we will do that. And on parallel, but I didn't start it yet, we want to also experiment instrumenting Chrome to render PDF. So the way WK HTML to PDF works, it renders the page, then it do a second render for the header and a third render for the footer. So, and then it, mix them together using PDF commands. So we could do that with Chrome. We could launch a headless Chrome, render the page, render a header, render a footer, and mix them together. So that's one option. The other is, okay, let's do HTML from scratch and CSS from scratch. So we are experimenting the two options, and we will see.
I think maybe this is what people meant here when they said, can we have our own HTML to PDF?
Yeah. Yeah, and the problem, it's true that in the open source community, and the open source world, there is no good PDF renderer from HTML. There is a proprietary software called Prince XML, which I think is very good, but it's proprietary. And there is a library in Python called WheezyPrint. It works, but it's very, very, very slow because it's in Python. So the options are very limited, and it's a complex problem. I don't have an easy answer because it's a complex problem.
Okay. Maybe looking to the future, where's the focus for Odoo 19?
In terms of functional,
Yes, I guess.
we don't know yet. So no, it's true. Next week we will sit down and say, okay, what's the next step? But we didn't think much about it because we don't plan very much in advance. I would say that we plan much more than before because now we try to plan like 1 year in advance. Before it was maybe a few months. But yeah, probably no new apps, improving the current apps. And I think this year we didn't introduce any new app. We just improve on them. I think, I'm not sure, maybe there is a new one, but so yeah, you have to go application by application, and I can tell you, but I don't have any grand plan.
Right. I don't know.
Okay, no, see, something that we want to succeed and we didn't succeed. I think accounting is very good now, except in some country localization are not yet there. So localization will be a huge focus, probably. Like 2/3 of the team will work on localization. So accounting is good, but what is not good enough, and it's e-commerce and website builder, because we didn't crack the market yet. We have 0.2% of the market, and so we need to crack that and improve on it. Because people always talk about big companies. They love the story with 10,000 employees, etc. But I love also the story of a guy who makes a simple website, a simple e-commerce, and it runs. And he's a freelancer, or he has a small company with 2 person, and that for me is very important too, because this person is more exigent than the big company. Because if he tries the software and doesn't like it immediately, then he will give up. So it's a very interesting challenge.
What are your thoughts on integrating libraries or frameworks like Telerik with Odoo?
I don't know Telerik, so I don't know what it is. But
maybe the person who
we have a syndrome at Odoo, the not invented here syndrome, so we always do our own framework ourselves. So we have our ORM layer, we have the framework in JavaScript, all, etc. I don't think we plan to introduce any new framework, or but we plan to make our framework in Python more Python-esque, making like there is a pull request to use the syntax of Python heritage instead of underscore inherits. It comes with some challenges, so it's not that straightforward, but we would like to make the Python framework more Python.
Are there plans to optimize the list view to allow for auto-size columns and full responsiveness?
The sizing of the columns, it's always a recurring issue. You can no comments, because we have a lot of discussion and arguments about it. The way we do it now, when you have numbers, we fix the size, and the rest we auto-compute them with the algorithm of HTML itself. And I think it mostly works. one thing I insisted about is to be able to resize, because if the program get it wrong, you need to resize it. Because Fabian wanted to remove the resize at some point, but we know it's not perfect, but we try our best. And if you have better suggestion, you are welcome to tell us.
A question about security. How does Odoo handle security and risks during the dev process, the development process?
Okay, during the development process, we have a team that reviews. So if you do an accounting, pull request to improve something, of course you will have reviewer inside the team that will review the code for the functional aspect. But we have another team who specialize in security, and they look out for, easy mistakes, and they use a tool already. There is a tool that grep, and try to find some pattern. It's not just a simple grep. I think it's a grep that analyze the AST of the code, and then they review manually, and they find. So we try to fix the bug before we introduce the security issue. But sometimes there is some stuff that pass anyway, and so doing the development. And another thing that we do training. So we take all the developers and we train them and explain them there is Denis Ledoux who's making a training. It's always the same, but people really need it, because we think, oh, this is so obvious that they know this. And then at the end of the training, they come and say, oh yeah, this is very interesting. I didn't think about that. So train your developer for the common issue, review the code, and yeah. And also on the security side, now we also have a red team, so people who try to crack Odoo. They try to look out also for pattern or stuff that might look insecure, and then try to exploit it.
Related question, maybe. What would you say is the most important advice for a growing dev team? The most important advice you would give?
I don't know. I've selected the good people. I'm very happy of the team in R&D, because I hired most of them in the beginning, and most of them are still there. They didn't leave the company, so we have a very high retention rate. So it's very easy, because you've been working with them for a long time, so you can trust them. And I know that in sales there is a bit more going and coming. So, but in R&D it's very cool that we kept the people, and so there is a level of trust that we have.
Back to Odoo SH, do you plan to implement an API layer to Odoo SH? It is very much needed for the CI/CD pipelines, such as deployments, changing branches.
I know that you get asked a lot this question. So what's the answer? Fabian. I told him no, because there are more important things first.
We have to redo all the front end, and we will do all the controllers, and that will be the time to check if we can implement that, and maybe it will help us to make the new UI use this API if we succeed, and then we will expose it.
So it's planned, but it's not in the short term.
We know that it's a recurring
request,
and it will help a lot of people to complete the CI/CD with GitHub. So we would like to do it, and we'll do our best.
Okay.
Thank you. Do you think Odoo is hitting a diminishing return in terms of development speed?
Yes. Yes. I think that there is this law that when you grow a company, only the square root of people do X% of the work. Yeah, I don't know what to do against it, but probably we are maybe a little less efficient than when we were, 100. But I cannot prove it. And when you see the task and the release, you say, actually we delivered a lot. But sometimes I'm thinking, maybe some people are not, I don't know, but I think it's human nature, and it's we do our best to fight against it, but probably it's a fact of life. Yeah. But I don't think we are in a bad shape. But it's just that maybe the team was 2 times bigger, but did they produce 2 times the output? Maybe no. Maybe it's like 1.8.
Question about multi-company. Is there a way to split off a company to host it as an independent database?
Yeah, this is difficult. This is very difficult because I think it depends. If you want to just to extract the customer or the invoice, maybe there is a way to do it, but uh, everything is entangled, so it would be very difficult. I think it's possible, just requires a lot of time. And the opposite also is true. If you start with multiple database and then you want to consolidate them in one database, it's also difficult. So it's actually a good thing to think a lot before you start to do one option or the other, and make sure that you 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 understand what will be the consequence of your choice. So
Okay. Could you release a minimal Odoo version only with base modules?
yeah,
like the Flask
we would
framework?
love to do that. We would love to. I don't want to have the separate repository because I don't like to have multiple repository. But I would like that the directory Odoo, the framework, would just be the framework, a pure, clean framework, and nothing else. We all want to do this. Fabien doesn't care that much because for him, what matters is the practical use of our framework. So it's Odoo, so it doesn't really matter much. But for me, it matters. And with Raphaël, or Jerry, we always say it and we don't do it. But we will do it. This time we will do it. Yeah. I would love people to just use Odoo as a framework, a bit like Flask, just to create a simple controller or something like that. And even the RPC controller should be in another module. So you have nothing, no root that are listening, and you just want to create a small application. What would be inside the framework probably would be the notion of a user access right. So the security layer probably would be inside the framework, but nothing like REST partner bank. What does it do in the framework,
Is there any technical achievement that you're particularly proud of at Odoo? Technical achievements.
Yeah, a lot. I'm proud of the framework itself. I'm proud of the JavaScript framework. I'm proud of. I did the QWeb syntax, and I did it, I think, with Fabien Megazzi, but you were not working at Odoo at the time, because I think it's a elegant way to generate XML, more elegant than other templates, because it's XML itself, so it has a Lisp, thing. And Jerry took it and made it so that you can not just render HTML but render live component, and so I think it's cool. I like. I love sysadmin stuff and computers. The demo I showed you yesterday. I like to see that many CPU running. It's cool. So I like Odoo SH, what they do, the container, the low level stuff, and I like also the process that the developer, even if we always complain about it, the runbot process, the fact that we can ensure some minimum level of quality, the testing, etc. The fact that this big machine with 300 or more, like 400 developers working, they can collaborate together. So there is a lot of things that I'm proud of.
Would it be
And I'm proud of my developers.
would it be valuable to slow down the speed of the releases? Right now they happen every year. What
Yeah.
about every 1.5?
Yeah, but people complain about that, but at the same time, every time we do a new release, they are so happy to check the new feature. You don't have to upgrade. If you are using a release, we keep those release updated for 3 years. And even I think there is some extra option to go up to 5 years. So if you are in a version and you like it and you don't want to use the new shiny feature, you can stay in those versions. But we love to improve and develop new stuff and improve the application. So we like the cycle of 1 year, actually. At the beginning was not like this. When we did do version 5, 6, 7, it was a bit random. And then we shifted to a yearly release because we started to organize Odoo Experience, Odoo Community Days, it was called at the time. And it's nice to have a release when we do the event yearly.
There's a question about updating a database on premise. How to update the code base for
Yeah.
on premises. potentially every week?
Yeah.
Is there any easy ways
So,
that you recommend?
There are multiple ways to do it. We publish a Debian package, so you could put that and do apt get upgrade or something like that. But I think many people prefer to check out the GitHub repository and then update the branch. We have a stable policy that if you update the branch, nothing wrong will happen. Sometimes we have regression, but you should be able to update and just restart Odoo, and it should work. And I think it worked most of the time, but there is a few times when it didn't work. And what we do on the SaaS, we update our server every Monday morning. Of course, we do that the Monday morning and not the Friday evening to make sure that if there is a problem during the day, we catch it and we fix it as quick as possible. So my recommendation to you would be to update your version every Wednesday or Tuesday, because if there is a hotfix, we will do it on Monday.
Yeah, I think we pretty much covered all the questions.
Okay.
There are a few remaining ones, but let's see. Does Odoo currently have a data integrity check utility? If not, are there any plans to offer one?
No, but in the database itself, we use a lot of foreign key. Not for everything, but so no, we don't have that. Yeah.
There's a question, so it's still being typed, but we can.
Yeah.
The CNCF ecosystem is.
I don't know what is the
Yeah, I'm not
CNCF.
sure what they're referring to.
CNCF ecosystem for amazing term. Okay, I don't know what is CNCF, so you
the
can
person
talk
maybe
to me
clarify,
about it. And
Um,
yeah, we have this area. It's not in this hall, it's in the hall 7. At the end of the hall to the right, there is a place called Meet the Developer, where you can sit down with the teams and discuss any problem or any suggestion. Okay. Attends, what time is it? No, we still have
So
20 minutes.
There's a question here: how powerful Odoo.com is? So
Okay.
in terms of core and
Yeah.
RAM.
The front ends that we have, Olivier, the CPU, 8 cores, 16, 64 cores, 15 machine. And I think it's a bit overpowered, because before we had maybe that number of machine, but with a smaller CPU, but we upgraded. So no, it's a bit overpowered, but yeah. And no, I don't know the memory and but the hard drive doesn't really matter, because they don't do anything. They don't store anything. They are just front end, and they query the database, and we mount the file store shared across all those front ends.
So yeah, the person just clarified their question
Oui.
before. So CNCF
It's
that
Cloud
stands
Native
Cloud
Computing Foundation. It's a nice buzzword, but I don't know what it is.
Why do you do rolling releases?
Because we want to get the feedback loop of, we have an ID, we want to improve. Voila. We have an ID, we want to improve the stuff, and then we want to have real people using it to know what. So for the product owner, it's better to, okay, we develop something, and in 2 months I can see it live with real user, instead of waiting 1 year to see what's the feedback. And I would love to have the feedback loop even shorter. If I could do daily release, I would do them. I don't think it would be very practical, because we need to upgrade when you change the data model from one version to another. So we have a cycle of 2 months at the moment. So every 2 months we do a release, and we do it on the SaaS. Maybe one day we will go to a 1 month cycle. I don't think we can make it shorter, but yeah. And the Nicolas, I don't know if Nicolas Saint is there, but he's the guy who's ensuring that the rolling release system works.
So there's a question
Yeah.
about localizations. So what are the elements of a localization? For example, taxes,
Yeah.
charts of accounts.
The first thing is just the chart of account. the taxes. That's really the basics. And then you have the reporting, so the balance sheet in the GAAP version of the country, profit and loss, etc. So all the legal report. That's the very basic stuff. But then after, you have all the requirement of the country, and many countries are now requiring that you send the tax in a certain format every month or every day. And some country they even want you to send everything you do. So every line of the accounting you have to send it to the government. It's Big Brother, and they started this in Mexico, but now every country is starting to do it. And I don't think we will go back to. I think it's useless that the government does that, but I don't think they will say, "Oh no, we don't want to bother you. Do your business." No, they want to, know everything what's happening. And of course, every country wants to do its own solution. It's like phone plugs. Nobody wants to have a standardized phone plug. Everybody wants to have his plug. So every country has this very strange requirement, and we implement all of them. And I think it's a bit what we call regulatory capture, because once we've done all those countries, Odoo will be very powerful, because no other tool in the world, maybe Dynamics or NetSuite, will be able to do it, but we will be the only software that you can use in many countries and have those localization and those legal requirements. So imagine just Europe. You are in Europe. It's 27 countries, and of course all of them have different approach to do that. So imagine that you want to start a chain of store, a business in Europe, and you know that you want to be present in different countries. What other solution can you use instead of Odoo? I don't think there is any other solution. The other solution would be to use local software in every country. So yeah, it's a curse. I think that the government asks so many stuff, but it's also a blessing for Odoo, because we will implement all of them.
A question about the websites. Are there plans to migrate the website client code to our?
Yes, we will do it this year. Quentin Smets and Jerry, etc. We have the plan to do it. That's the next, big thing for because this year, Jerry likes to tackle big, challenge, and this year he was tackling the editor, the HTML editor, and next year website builder, with Quentin, etc.
Do you have plans to improve and document the RPC API?
Alors, what do we mean by the RPC API? The RPC API is documented when we say you can call a model with arguments. But if you are talking about documenting all business objects and their main methods, no, we don't have any documentation. I think we should do it for main object, like invoices, sales order, etc. We could document them better. Yeah.
Yep. You just added to the question, so creating an invoice.
Yes, the main object.
Exist, for example.
Yeah. At the moment, the documentation is create, and you look, you have to look in the fields to know what to do.
Yeah, work it out. What are the plans on websites, especially for SEO improvements?
I have a mixed feeling about SEO optimization because I think people do too much of it, and I think what matters is if you have really a website with content that matters to people. And I think people who are chasing the SEO game are it's a bit useless. And I know that it works sometimes, but it's a short-term view. It's better to, and that's why, and also the tricks evolve every year. 10 years ago it was, you have to put meta tags with this. This year is, you have to put these keywords in the H1 tag, etc. We try to have Odoo get good ranking on the Google page evaluation tool. I don't know what PageSpeed tool or page evaluation tool, but yeah, I don't know. But Fabien is very into it, so probably we'll do something.
are you focusing on having Odoo as a headless core application, allowing clients to develop their own custom UI on top of Odoo?
But you mean replacing the web client with something else? Hmm.
So, allowing clients to develop their own custom UI.
You can develop your own custom on top of Odoo already. Yes, so for me it's already possible. Oh, I didn't answer the question.
Will staging branches in Odoo SH get the functionality of anonymizing data, including PDFs and images?
No. It's something that, yes, we don't know. We were talking about it because we know it's an issue, but we don't want to encrypt all the file store because then it's not a PDF file anymore. One solution would be to remove all the attachment. I think for most of the functional flow, this could work, except for document. So we don't have any an easy solution. And also the anonymization tool, it's called Obfuscate. It works, but you have to be careful. You have to select, by default we did a selection of field to obfuscate. But if you do your own custom code, you have to also add on to it to make sure that you don't leak private information. So it's a delicate tool.
A more general question, do you do some kind of review of other ERPs to add new features?
Yes, yes. I think it's very important to look at the competition and check not only ERP, but also standalone tools. So, for example, what I say is that we don't have any competitor at Odoo, and we have a lot of competitor. If you take every application, you go to the app switcher, you see all the icons, there is around 50 icons. I can find you 10 companies, 10 startups that are doing this application. Like CRM, you have Salesforce, you have HubSpot, etc. E-commerce, you have Shopify. So it's important to look at each of those competitors. And I say that we don't have any competitor because if you mix those 50 icons together, then there is nobody in the world that do what we can do. There is no software that can do e-commerce, CRM, point of sale, etc. Like we do.
A question about IoT. Do you have plan to support STM or Arduino, like light-based devices, or even robot OS compatible devices?
No. So what we do, the reason we have this IoT, it's when we want to talk to a serial or USB device, something that you plug in USB. If we can access the device on the network, we don't use the IoT box. But some device, you don't have any choice. For example, the scales in shops, it's a USB device. The printer that we were using at the entrance, it's a USB device. So we use it only to do that. But then on top of that, you can do anything. If you want to send something to Arduino somewhere, you can do it.
Do you like the WhatsApp?
Actually, we would like to get rid of the IoT because it's a bit painful to set up. So the more we can get rid of it, the better we are. But we know that we need it for some use case.
Do you like the WhatsApp integration in Odoo?
Yes, I think it's very useful for marketing purpose. The funny story about Fabien is, many people use WhatsApp in Europe also, and Fabien was not using it, of course. And I told him, blah blah WhatsApp, he didn't care. And he had to go to India to realize, because there they only use that. So he had no choice to install it and use it, and then he realized, oh yeah, it's cool.
Are there any plans to have more comprehensive changelog between versions?
I have to say something about WhatsApp. It's cool, but I don't like the fact that we have one company running all the message, even if they are encrypted. It's a bit strange that it's like a big monopoly.
So like I was saying, are there any plans to have more comprehensive changelog between versions?
We do every time we do a major release, we do a nice changelog with all the tasks that we did. We go in Odoo and we check all the tasks and we try to make a nice changelog. If you want the real information, you do git log and you read all the commit message. Because now we try to make nice commit message, and I think most of the commits have nice commit message. but there's a lot.
There was another question about documentation. Do you plan to revamp the whole documentation websites? Because several information seem to be outdated.
Yeah, there is a plan to improve the documentation website, the documentation itself. Jerry is very keen to work on it, but he wants also to work on development problems. And yeah, we know that it's not good enough and we want to improve it.
Would you suggest Docker for development?
Yes,
or an
if
IDE
you-
for development?
I don't use it much, but if you want to have an isolated environment, it's a good solution because it's lightweight. Personally, I don't even use virtual env. Just, you know, on my PC, I just apt-get install all the dependency and use the Python that is on my on Debian with the library that are on Debian.
So you said about WhatsApp that you didn't want to. You didn't like the fact that it was the sole
Yeah.
app that we integrated.
Yeah.
So there's a question.
No,
about
not the sole app that we integrated. I don't like the fact that all the world is using WhatsApp, and it's a private stuff. It's not an open standard.
Yeah.
We would like to, and I don't like email nowadays also. It's supposed to be an open standard, but there is only a few providers, and it's like an oligopoly, and it's a bit sad.
So there's
But
a
I don't
question-
know what to do about it.
So there's a question about integrating Signal on top of WhatsApp. So
Huh?
Signal, which is
Yes, but the problem
open
is
source,
that
yeah.
there is network effect, and the Signal doesn't have the reach and the network effect of WhatsApp, which is a curse and a blessing for them. You know, I don't know. There is no so. WhatsApp really has the widest reach, and that's why we
Yeah.
integrated this one. If there was another one that had the same reach, we probably would integrate it, and I would welcome a bit of competition. But in the computer industry, there is a winner-takes-all mechanism that happens.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think we're out of time.
Okay.
So if you still have questions, you can.
Yeah, of course, if you have further questions, don't hesitate to come to see me in the developer area in the Hall 7, or to also ask any of the developers in R&D. We are very happy to answer your question. Thank you.